next president that we are looking for based on activities and the economic situation of the country. Based on the show as well, the president. Today, our housemates are ready to take us around the political and the governance aspect of what we should expect from our leaders here in the country, Nigeria. So we have the group A and the B who will be battling to tell us what politics and governance is all about. So let's watch out.
President's reality TV show.
As a prospective president, distinguish politics from governance, today we have the first group. We have Faith, we have Damaris, we have Odinaka, we have Jefferson, and we have the group lead, Edidion. That's for group A. Let's have them.
President's reality TV show.
Hello world. Welcome to today's section on the President's Reality TV show house. We are here to talk about politics and governance. We are the members of Group A. We are still in the show, it's still going on. And we promise you are going to have more exciting moments. Today is yet another one. Now, we are going straight to knowing what politics and governance is and discussing it with you. We are going straight to strike 5 bullet points, and we promise you it's going to be exciting and interesting for you to watch. First, we are going to distinguish between politics and governance. We're going to have a little plenary here. We're going to enjoy our session. Now we're going straight to the first speaker to tell you, the viewers, what politics and governance is. Over to Jefferson. Jefferson, please.
Okay, my name is Jefferson Jaffet. Before we go further, I would love to define who a politician is. A politician is someone who is seeking for power. Now, what is politics? Politics is simply strategies, techniques in which those who are seeking for power make use in making decisions. And what is governance? Governance is simply the application of politics. That is simply the application of the strategies and techniques used by these politicians when they're in power.
Oh, thank you so much, Jefferson. That was brief and concise enough. Okay, we are moving straight to the next speaker to tell us when politics and governance should be in play. Over to Faith.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Faith Isangedigi, and just like you have said, politics is decision making, and the implementation of these decisions is governance. So just like we've had in electioneering, there is pre-election period, there is the election itself, and there is the post-election period. So in the pre-election period, it is expected that the government or the people aspiring to power should not run a top-to-bottom approach, just sitting on themselves and thinking about the problems and bringing it to bear. But they should ask the people, and from the people they will know the problems. And at the election, they are being voted for. After they are being voted for, everything politics should cease. All parties who contested should come together for nation building. The post-election should be governance, and strictly governance. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Straight to the third speaker, Odinaka. You're going to tell us who should be in politics.
Thank you so very much. In this country today, we have people who are in politics, people who don't have any business in politics, but they are there. And that is why we can, as citizens, cannot receive the dividends of democracy. One of the problems is that these people, most times, this individual who dominates politics, most times only influence the voters through food and not through vision. They also incentivize their loyalists so as to manipulate them and also make them to be known as political loyalists. and this is why we don't have the people who should be in governance. And also, these people who are in governance, most of them don't have what it takes to be in governance. They don't have the capacity, they don't have the competence, they don't have the knowledge to run the government. And people who should be in government are people with proven track record, people with integrity, people with competence, people with capacity and capability. And also, people who should be in governance are not desperate people, and not people who believe that it is my turn instead of the nation's turn. And also, people who should be in politics are people who have the vision for the people, who are people-centric. And one thing we understand about those who go into politics, because they go in there not for the people. They don't go in there for the service of the people, but they go in there for themselves. They now see it as a family business. That is why they also see that opportunity as a rewarding process, which it shouldn't be so. And these people who are there also, they promote mediocres. And those are not the people, like she said, who should be in government. We should promote experts to be in government. People who know how to manage, people who have the technical know-how of a particular field on how to manage it. That is why if I become the president, if you don't have the expertise in a particular field, you won't be given an opportunity to handle that field. Instead, if you need reward, we could reward you with something else, maybe like starting up a business for you. But to manage the resources of the country in making sure that dividends of democracy is given to the people, you won't see it.
Thank you so much, Odinaka. We appreciate you. That was a sound one. Thank you. Okay, to our next speaker. Damaris, you are going to tell us politics here, politics there. Do you see politics as a profession?
I would say yes, and I would say no.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Let us follow you up on that.
Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity, my leader. Why I said it's a profession is because it's a noble profession. It is a principle of professionalism. It's a principle of professionalism in which politicians are meant to learn about what politics is all about, and also they should know its meaning, and so that when they come to the seat, they'll be able to implement it. Yeah, that's why I call it a profession. But talking about it not being a profession, now, some of our politicians are there in that seat not because of the interest of their people, but their own selfish desires, their greed for fame and power. And that's why some of us today are suffering in this country and other countries there. So that's just it.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a brief and an interesting one. Okay, let's move straight to knowing if politics is a decision, how can governance be applied? I'll take that. Now, governance is a strategy, it's a structure that has been set up to manage the decision that was already made politically. A politician will come into office. What is he coming to do? Let it be that the office was created. It's an office that has already existed. It's there. It's coming in. What was already in existence in the office is coming to occupy is the policies that were already there. Let's say a governor is voted into office. There are laws, there are procedures, there are policies that are guiding the existence of that governor in office first, before the next thing is going to do for the citizen. Now, what are our politicians in governance doing? Some of them, when they come into office, the first thing they do is to secure their interests. They're not looking into the policies that were already there. Okay, let's just go straight to the corporate sectors. Let me say formation of the company, existence and running of a company. That's a corporate structure. Now, at first, before a company is formed, it requires a promoter to first come out and say, okay, I want to form this company. The promoter is going to do everything around to make sure that the company stands. Then, even it requires much capital to form, that's when it can go into to bring 1 or 2 persons to subscribe. Then, being subscriber doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be members. It's just a scenario to paint here for a proper understanding. Now, at the existence of that company, there are bodies. It is this subscriber that will come here to make rules, policies for the existence of that corporation. And these rules here, all the, whether you're a subscriber, you're the one that formed it, it does not matter, it does not change anything. You are still under it. And if you breach any, you'll be punished for that. Now they will have a director, they will have a secretary, all the bodies, an auditor, everything in a company. Okay, any of them that maybe misbehave, rule out, and do anything, the person will have his own answers to give. Now let's bring this scenario down, and the answers they're going to give is strictly on them.
Yes.
No, I'm not bearing the consequences of the problem you create. Now let's bring it to our politics today, to our society, our governance today. This is what we are dwelling on now. A sitting governor, anybody that's elected into office will come. There is a law guiding them. Okay, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. Okay, because you feel you are the owner of this table, you feel you can shift it anytime. You came to see this table in this office, you feel you can push the table out and you can draw it inside and nothing can happen simply because you are there. No, it is not done that way. Okay, what are you thinking about the interest of the person that dropped this table here? What about you continuing to allow this table here? The only time the table should have a problem is maybe it's not functioning well. You can call the bodies, people that were responsible to keeping it here. Okay, it's not here. Can we lift it? Or can we make another one that is maybe higher than this so that it to do what? Fit in the society. Okay, now let's just take a good example. The society is progressing. And it gets to a point whereby you were supposed to do something or maybe lift anything. Our today leaders, people that are supposed to govern us, this is a process of government. They're supposed to do it at first. They're not paying attention to that. They're sounding their interest first. If it's not their interest, they want to remit it to whosoever maybe put them there as a result of compensation like Odinaka has said, which is not supposed to be so. What are you supposed to do first? You have to think of the interests of the people that voted you into that office. I feel that is the first thing that governance should represent. Now, the society, they are looking at you. People that voted you, they are looking at you. They are having much expectation. And if you are giving them less, that's a disappointment already. Okay, now, what are you coming to promote in the system you have come to meet, you've come to stay, and you're going to leave? That's the governance that, the process of you governing, the process of you working on the existing policies that were already, that you came to see. This is this governance. It's different from, I'm doing this because of Oga that puts me in office. I'm doing this because, no, those are two different things. You have to distinguish. Once you are campaigning, you are being voted into office, this is you doing your politics.
Yeah.
But once you are there, this is you doing your governance. And you have to do everything that was there.
Yes.
And you have to qualify everything so that people will have what to point and, okay, all these leaders that people are looking out for, mimicking and all that, okay, if they did not do well, tell me how others will be proud to look out to, okay, I want to be like this person, I want to. Our governance, our politics, they should be wholly separated. We know this is political. To bring me into office, for me to exist in that office, our governance, these are already existing policies. I am here to qualify this. I am here to improve on this. And I am here to set it up to this standard. That is the application of politics and governance and a distinguished separation that our today's society politicians should look into it, they should know it, and they should at least exhibit or model whatever has been in existence already. And a quick one on that. We are going to talk about some solutions, or maybe, okay, now we are aspiring to be presidents. Definitely. One of us here must emerge.
Yes.
That one is sure. Now, we have seen that governance and politics, our leaders presently, some are doing very well, but to the few that are not really giving us what we expect, we are here to do what sets the difference. We are here to make it known to the society that if we come out, not if we must,
Yes.
that once we come out, this is what we are going to do to the society, so that they will be sure and they will also know that politics and governance is two distinguished things, that a person that is politically elected into office should face governance instead of politics. So I'll leave this time for Faith to tell us, on behalf of the group, one, two, or few things that we will do as the president of this country.
Okay, thank you very much. You've already made it elaborate, the point that borders around the things that happen in governance and the things that should be done. I'll quickly like to refer to the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect states that for every effect that there is a cause. So just like us having a mango tree, it is the root of the mango tree that makes the fruit a mango tree. So when we replace the root that is a mango tree with an orange root, we are automatically expecting, or we will have, an orange fruit. So in our great country Nigeria, where our heroes past have labored so much to get us to this point, there has already been existing policies. But these policies are no longer saving the current times and seasons. And from our prediction, we will not also save the future. So to save us, we will have to go to the cause, address the cause. And what is the cause? Having a different structure, restructuring, so that the policies we will now have will be in line with current realities. The second thing we will do is to make education, educate the citizens on their rights and privileges, educate them on these structures so that they can hold their leaders accountable for the things they do in office. If the system is greater than the individual who flaws the system will automatically pay for it. But if the individual is higher than the system cannot work. And the people he is saving will continually suffer. Then we'll also have a fine on those who go against these laws. They must pay this fine. You see, the fines we already have are something that politicians can just match their foot and walk and pass. But if we have the fines that if they pay, they will be paying, I believe most of them will sit up as leaders and not do these things again. Yeah. There are many more solutions we will give, but these are strategic to ensure that we bring inclusiveness into both politics and governance, so that what we campaign will do for the people is what we will do, joining our hands with all stakeholders in the country to have this done.
Thank you so much, Faith. That was a beautiful one. On this note, we have bring our discussion not to an end, but because of time, we have to wrap it up here. And I want to say this: politics, it's a very interesting game. It's a platform for service, where you present yourself, you offer to serve, you are elected into office. Yes, it's beautiful, interesting. But governance, on the other hand, is how are you going to manage this office that you are being elected into, appointed into? What are you going to do that is going to be new, interesting, that is going to be different from every other person, what every other person has been doing? What do you have for us? So this is us distinguishing this and letting you understand this. And we are very happy to have your audience today, and we look forward to hosting you another time, still on the President's Reality TV show, but it may likely be on another topic. Thank you so much for today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
President's Reality TV show.
To produce the next crop of leaders based on this show, the reality TV show President 2022, we have another set of vibrant, eloquent leaders who will be distinguishing politics from governance. You heard from the first group, and it's just the second group as well. And this group is so blessed. 5 able men and just a lady. Let's have Bam Bam as part of this group. We have Fred. Fred here is the leader of the group. We have Okom, we have Daniel, we have Matthew, and the only lady in the group, Kala. So let's watch them present to us what they know and what they feel on leadership in terms of distinguishing politics from governance. Watch out.
President show. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you also to our uncle and for giving us the opportunity to present on what governance and politics are or is. Okay, so I am in Group B and I have my teammates here, and this is how our conversation would go. First, we're going to define what politics is, what governance is. Next, we're going to talk about how politics and governance are in Nigeria, peculiar to our nation. Then third, we're going to talk about the problems that we encounter with politics and governance in Nigeria. And finally, we're going to talk about the solutions to those problems that we encounter in Nigeria. So this definition I'm about to give you about politics, about governance, you probably would not find anywhere, because during our brainstorming session, we came together and developed the solution, of course with some help from the internet. So this is how we defined politics. Now, we say politics is the activities, or are the activities that are used to distribute resources and power. Very important, power and resources for either self or communal interest of a people, of an organization, or of a nation. And we define governance as the selfless implementation of policies or laws, constitutions, or norms of an organization or of a people according to the set structures of the goals for that organization or for that body or entity. Now, we're going to talk about these different aspects of politics and governance as regards to our nation. So I'll start with Bam Bam. Bam Bam, please talk to us about how politics is played in Nigeria. What's the reality of politics in our nation?
Thank you. To me, politics is a process whereby an individual represents a certain political parties in Nigeria. Let's now take a look at how politics is being played in Nigeria. Individuals being elected to that office are not there because to impact life. They are not there to impact life positively. They are there because of their selfish interests. They are there because of their self-centered goals. And that is why the practice of politics in Nigeria is really alarming. So, like, godfatherism is also a major aspect. The majority of those elected in office, the godfather is expected of such persons to bring return in order for he or she to be there to retain the seat. And let's take a look, as we all know that election is around the corner. As we all know that campaign will soon commence. This is the time you will see political parties running helter-skelter to convince the masses. They will be running helter-skelter by bribing people, by confusing them negatively in order for them to be there. And when they are there, they will not be there because of the benefit of the mankind. They are there because of their self-centered purpose. And let's look at the way election is being rigged in Nigeria. It's alarming. Let's also take a look at bloodshed in Nigeria. The political holders, they have tactics, ways of playing politics in Nigeria, and we have to put ends to this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the point I got from you, how politics right now is in Nigeria. First, the godfatherism. Second thing is the political activities that are not so straightforward, bribery. And then the third one, you talked about rigging of elections. All right, thank you so much. You've talked about how politics is in Nigeria. All right, please, Okom, please talk to us about how governance is in Nigeria. What are our governance process? And during our brainstorming sessions, you talked about the origin of governance. How do you relate it to what happens in our country at the moment?
Right, thank you so much, Uncle. My name is Ubala Okom. Thank you. Whereas I'm given the opportunity to talk about governance, and I will first say I trace the origin of governance to the quest for the preservation of human rights. And as such, and I will say the very concept of governance confronts several challenges, several possibilities, and several opportunities. And now, it is ranging from the industrial sectors who have to worry about the implication of disruptive innovations to the corporate demands of citizenship on business model, down to the entrepreneurs in Nigeria who have to worry about the macroeconomic environment. Leadership at all levels or governance is stressed and challenged. Now, I will go straight to how government is being run in Nigeria. In Nigeria, in the Nigerian system, government is run in such a way that it is only focused on who is in the power to allocate some resources to themselves, and at the end of the day, they don't care about the general well-being of the people. Now, I would take, for instance, the political timing and elections. Now, elective leaders who go into offices forget the fact that they were elected there to perform the very function of governance. And when they go there, they forget the aspect of which they were sent there, and then they go out and preoccupy their minds with several disruptive innovations. Then I will also say, in that regards, that they take this challenge, they take this opportunity and leverage on the fact that ordinary Nigerians have not been able to call them to accountability, and then they do whatever they will feel like doing, because they know at the end of the day, when it is political period, they will come back with the looted money and they will bribe their way into the second tenure. Secondly, and I'll talk about the aspect of appointments, appointing political appointees in offices. It is always based on bias and, if you know me, setting. People go there into office and appoint those who will be very loyal to them as aides, so that at least they can be secure around the loyalty of their aides, of their appointees. Now, I will talk lastly on the issue of bribery. Corruption is also encapsulated inside bribery. Now, in corruption, the reason why corruption is still thriving in Nigeria is because we have not been able to send out the right messages across to punish bad behavior when looting is also involved. I will trace you to an instance in Singapore under Lee Kuan Yew. A minister bargained with a contractor to collect the contracts and then reward the contractor at the end of the day. When the president got to find out about this, the minister went and committed suicide, leaving a note behind that he would rather choose to kill himself but to face the consequence than to face the consequences which the Lee Kuan Yew administration will place him under. And that is because they have been able to send out the right kind of messages to the public that they are going to punish bad behavior and they are going to do justice to that. But in Nigeria, the case is different. If you steal money, we'll give you chief status title. If you steal money, we'll give you doctorate degrees. And that's because the system has so been able, is so okay with the fact that corruption is thriving, and it's thriving because people at the end of the day, money will exchange hands for power to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you for giving us how it is in our country, how governance is. Now, Sir Fred, while we were having our sessions, we asked the question, can you really separate governance from politics? I'd like you to throw more light on that. And also, we've talked about the problems, we've talked about how governance and politics is in our nation. Please tell us, what are the problems? What are the arising problems because of how we operate politics and governance in Nigeria?
Thank you so much, Kala. Thank you so much, Bam Bam and Okom, who have been able to demystify the whole idea around politics, around government, and how it is practiced in our own country. And for me, basically, I believe that politics and governance are two brothers that are inseparable. Why? Because when you talk about politics, politics is a process of getting into governance. Politics is a system that transits you into governance. Politics is I call it the game, right? Politics is the game that takes you into power. Now, the problem we have experienced as a nation is that attention is being shifted from governance and is majorly on politics. Now, when people transit to governance, the main purpose is now to focus on governing people based on selfless implementations, based on accountability, following the rules and the norms and the constitutions of the country, following the justice and equity that mankind demand, right? But when people get into power, they stay in the office and still play politics. If we play politics, we will not get it all right. Because when you talk about the Nigerian poor social economical performance, the corruption, and has resulted to lack of trust in the political system. Now, this can all be revamped, this can all be changed, because when people get into office through the system of politics, that is the process of election, the process of getting the right leader, you go there and now govern people based on how you are supposed to govern individuals, right? You're supposed to govern the
According to
people,
the
you're
norms,
supposed to
rules.
govern people based on the set standard. Because we have country that have policy, we have country that have constitutions around. And when these things are adhered to strictly, I believe that the Nigeria we all want, the Nigeria we dream of, the Nigeria we envision, the Nigeria we want to see and live in, not the Nigeria we will run from and meet another country. We'll see that Nigeria come practically our face and we'll enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So what I believe what we got from that was, first, you really can separate politics from governance. And then secondly, there's a time to do politics and there's a time to do governance. So when you're in office, you don't do politics to people's life. What you do is you govern. So it seems like politics has to do with people coming in, and governance has to do with like the process on which these things are being, our laws are being implemented. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so Sir Matthew, we've talked about the problems in politics and governance and how it is in our country. Please talk to us. What are the solutions to politics? The political problems that we currently face in Nigeria, what are the solutions to them? What are some of the things that we can provide as solutions that we can do differently to solve these political problems?
All right, thank you so much, Gala, and my team. You guys are really doing justice to this, and I believe my contribution will still be part of it.
Yeah.
All right, and it's still part of what we know we are facing. This is politics, politics, politics. Politics everywhere, and they are playing it with us. They believe maybe we don't have the capacity, but I will tell you something. We talk about the education aspect of it. People are really involved when we talk of politics.
Okay.
They need the education aspect of what they expect from who we want to choose.
Okay.
You understand? All right, now I will also talk about the INEC. They have a vital role to play.
Okay.
I can tell you that as we are seated here, so many Nigerians without their PVCs that did not register because of maybe due to delay, but you see they took like a year for registration only. But I can bet you it's not all Nigerians that are ready for this election that we are so anticipating about.
Okay.
The INEC have a reason not to tell us that maybe it's because of this, they take maybe more than a year to give us the voters card that we need for this election. Look at the bank. If you look at bank, you can like maybe 30 minutes walk down to the bank and you get your ATM card.
Yes.
It's very simple. Why is it taking INEC a longer time for them to provide us with our
Especially
PVC?
when they already have our data.
Yes, they have our details as Nigerians. We are not outsiders. They have a very vital role to play, and something must be done about it.
Okay.
At least maybe 6 months should be okay. They provide us with our PVC. We will be warming up to wait for politics that they will come and bring it to us. You understand me?
Yeah.
I also look at the manifesto of the party because I'm not seeing it as an individual manifesto.
Okay.
It's the party that always brings it. That's to me. I don't know for any other person. Give us 2 manifestos that you will be able to deliver to us at the end of 4 years in office. First, don't give us 10 that at the end of it you won't be able to do 1 for us. That one should be the main thing they should focus on. You also look at the aspect of them, maybe you see them, I will just throw this one as still part of what I know is happening, and it should be a kind of solution to it. You are out from office. You're out from office. You need to provide a successor. Personal interest comes in.
Okay, I get. So
Personal
we shouldn't
interest
have
comes in.
those.
People should be given the opportunity for them to choose a candidate that they need.
Okay.
From any political party. It should not be a party to give us, with the help of a seated governor that is about to go out,
Okay.
to give us a candidate for election. So I believe all these things should be focused on and solutions should be given to it. Politics can be played in a smoothly way that will favor governance.
Okay, thank you so much. So from what I got from your points, first, we need to make sure that we have proper education
Yeah.
on how our politics is in our nation, even
Yeah.
from small generation to older generation. We also need to have proper processes that's for getting our voters card, for
Voters card
getting
ready.
what we would use to participate
In the election.
in the election. And then third, we should not have selfish interest coming with our political leaders. So if you're leaving office, let it be that it is us who can choose who the next candidate would be, rather
Yes.
than you also
Giving us a
politicizing
successor.
exactly like it's a monarchy
Yeah.
system, but it's democracy. All right. So finally, Mr. Daniel.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about all of this now. Governance. What are the solutions that we can implement to make governance better in our nation? How do we do governance such that we don't have the same problems that we have before? What can we do differently?
Okay, thank you very much, the moderator. Thank you to my teammates. I would like to say that for us to implement governance into the Nigerian system, we need to, first of all, establish a fact that governance and politics are intertwined. These two concepts are inseparable. And for us to identify ourselves as Nigerians with governance, we need to first of all look at how we practice governance in Nigeria. First off, I think one of the ways we can implement governance in Nigeria is to ensure that policies that ensure continuity in governance is put into place. Now, when I say policies, I mean policies that help governance continue, be in a continual process. For example, we've had cases where a governor who leaves office is succeeded by somebody who doesn't want to continue from where the governor stopped. Now, that is a practice that does not help the alignment of our growth. It does not show a connection. It does not show a synchronization of our growth. That means we're growing in a rickety way. One moment they are trying to build a stadium, the next moment they are trying to build a school, and that way we're not having a smooth process of growth. And I think that is because sometimes when you look at it, we don't have an actual ideology as a country, and that's the problem. And to ensure that these policies are put into place, we need to look at a concept called democracy. Now, democracy means the involvement of the people. It means that power is more on the hands of the people than it is on the hands of the leaders. And that is why we as citizens, as electorates, we need to make the conscious decision of electing good leaders to come into office to take position and ensure that governance is practiced in Nigeria. And one more thing I think we need to do is that we need to ensure true federalism is practiced in Nigeria. Let's take, for example, Governor Wike of Rivers State. When he came up to protest or agitate that the practice where federal government would take the revenue of a state to spread amongst different states is not proper, is not right. And if you look at it critically, there are states that are not working, as it were. There are states that are not doing anything. And there are states that make policies that stop them from making economic gains. And when others are working, some are not working. And when those who are working are done, they take the money from these coffers to spread among states that are lazy. And that is wrong. We need to ensure that federalism is ensured in our system. And when you look at it, it all boils down to checks and balances of the levels of government. Now, the federal level checks the state level, and the state level checks the federal level. And also, we can spread it amongst the arms of government where the legislative government is different or is checked by the executive government arm of government, and the judiciary arm of government is checked by the other arms of government. And when this is practiced, it will ensure smooth process, smooth running of governance in a country like Nigeria. Thank you very much, my moderator.
Thank you. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. So you've basically heard it all. Do we have any last words from us on what politics is, what the solutions are?
One key point, I believe that aside politics, aside governance, it is very key that we give attention to accountability.
Yes.
Right? Because the moment you transit to governance, you are accountable to the people, you are accountable to every Nigerian. Because you get into power to deliver. If you don't deliver, and since the advent of advocacy, we see that certain governments are pushed to bring out results due to critics, constructive and unconstructive, or somehow they are put under pressure to bring out results. So if our governance can put more attention to accountability and ensure that you give feedbacks to people, because governance runs like an employee system in terms of business, where you get to give details of what went within the month,
Yes.
the details of how many clients visit your store, and so on. If our governance is run like that, I bet you will have a system that will be unbeatable across the world.
All right, thank you.
Also,
Okay.
there should be transparency.
Yes.
So the masses should be carried along on what is going on within the government.
Okay.
So they should try to create like something like a transparency and manifesto for the masses to be able to know what is going on within
Like
the
a
government.
feedback.
Yeah,
thing.
the feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
You talk
So,
about
I'll come on.
All right. I will also say citizens should be able to take part actively in what happens in the country,
Okay.
because the citizens also have to understand that the power in the people is greater than the people in power. So we
Okay.
have to we have an unalienable right to demand a certain level of mandatory accountability from the people we elected into office.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
already you also know that they say proper preparation prevent poor
Poor
performance.
performance, yeah.
All right, as a political party, you know what we want. Maybe you have them, but maybe how to deliver it to us is the problem. You plan, you tell us, we accept, but once you comes in, the president that you should deliver. Don't promise us much. Promise us a little.
What you will do.
Then deliver it to us. We will be very satisfied knowing that other governments are coming.
Okay.
That's just it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so
I
much.
think I have one last note. It begins now. It looks big, but if we can start now, we can get it achieved. Yes.
Alright. Thank you so much. Personally, I've learned more from this session. Politics and governance, yes, they do go together, but the important thing is that there's a place for politics and there's a place for governance. And I'm really inspired that and that this would go out, and I hope our leaders are watching, and I hope also citizens of Nigeria would see this and decide to be more involved in our political processes, in our governance processes. That makes you a better citizen of Nigeria. Thank you so much. My name is Carla God. This is Group B, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
President's reality big show.
Right, welcome back, housemates,
Thank you so much.
from that brainstorming session. And I want to congratulate all of you for a job well done.
Thank you so much.
Encourage yourselves. Alright, the issue today was in the area of distinguishing politics from governance. Based on the trend that we have in the country today, that people should play active politics. We've seen in some areas, most of the Nigerians will say, I retired or I resigned from work to play active politics. And now it seems we pay more attention to politics than governance based on the point you've raised during your argument as well. So let's just take a look at some areas now you raised of which we as a house should look into. Don't forget, you are a potential president of which you are waiting swearing in any of these days. Am I making any sense?
Yes.
Alright, let's look at these now. Do we see or should we see politics in Nigeria as a profession or occupation? Part-time or full-time?
Okay, I would say politics in Nigeria should be seen as a job for anyone who goes in. You should understand that you have what the citizen give to you as authority, which is transient, and so you are not going to sit there forever, because you know what, the person in the place of the permanent secretary have an elapsing limit, and so you are there to perform the job and leave the place. So at least another person can fit in also. And it will be a shame to you if you are not able to deliver on your manifesto or your campaign promises. Because when you leave that office, you become irrelevant. So it should be seen as a job.
Okay. Daniel.
Okay. I think when we were brainstorming, we got into an argument where we're talking about if a person should be elected based on academic qualification or the fact that he or she can actually do the job. And if we look at it critically, there are people who are not so educated. Let's take, for example, businessmen, most especially those in the eastern part of Nigeria. They are not so educated, but when they go into business, they go there and they excel. Like they go into markets and they use certain principles and they make money. And it shows that if somebody can lead a particular position without having formal education, That means they can actually do the job if they are given the position of leadership. So I think it shouldn't be a permanent seat, but a seat that has certain policies and laws that guide it. So when somebody comes into office, they are not operating based on how they want to operate, their personal interests. They are operating based on the interest of the people. So I think it should be, as he said, a transient job where people come in and go.
All right, Carla, please talk.
Okay, so I don't think, well, you give the instance of people saying, oh, I'm quitting my job and I'm doing politics.
To join politics, yes.
To join politics.
Active politics.
Active politics.
Full-time politics.
Okay. I don't think it's I really don't think it's a full-time thing. One, because, okay, if it's a full-time thing, who are you serving? We define politics as the process by which, resources and power are allocated, to people. So there's a time for it, and just as we mentioned that politics is like a door, entrance into governance. And when you get into governance, you don't continue playing politics. You're not supposed to continue playing politics with people's lives or resources when you get into governance. What you're supposed to do is start governing according to the rules and things that are there. So it's more of a one-time thing. The election processes in Nigeria don't happen every year. They don't happen every time. You get so the way it is in other countries. Normally, people make donations. If you were maybe you're a lawyer or something, you take out some time and get into politics, and then when you're done, you come back. It's not like you stay there forever, because actually, who would you be serving after the political processes are done? People have been elected. You're not serving anybody.
So now, what of those who are actively involved in politics as a
I dare
profession?
say they have other things.
They have offices.
I dare
just
say
like
they have other things.
Office of the politician.
No, at that point, they're supposed to be governing, but in our country, they are not governing. They're still playing politics.
So those who plays active politics, should they retire or should they go on sabbatical after elections?
I'm saying that there should not be something as active politics. There should be active governance. Politics should be based on timing. Time should be time based.
All right, thank you very much. You're gonna say much. I know you all have what to say on this. We're still going to pinpoint so many things now. All right, the next one now is that can someone be actively involved in governance without politics?
I'll say
Calm down. Okay. Let others talk.
Can someone be involved in active governance without politics?
Yes. Can there be governance without politics?
I will say no, because the process in getting into governance is transition. That transition happens by politics. The transition happens because politics is the process of transiting individual or a person into governance. So when you get to governance, the problem we have experienced as a nation is the fact that when people get into power, they still play politics in power. But now when you get into power and you leave politics out of it, you now say, okay, I'm now a leader of a nation. I have people who I owe them certain accountability, I owe them certain empathy, I owe them records of my promises at the campaign ground to deliver. At that point, governance becomes very, very interesting. Now, another aspect of it is the idea of active politics, like it was said earlier on, which means that most of our politicians call it active politics because they don't have a job before politics. They don't have a life before politics. They don't have a business before politics. When they swingle their way into politics, they stick there because when they leave there, they go broke. So if we have a system, right, that allows you to come and you have a particular time, let's take for instance US. Trump left power and went back to his business, right? And he continues his business. If he have interest again, he come back to contest. And when he wins, he lead people again. But for us, the most of our politicians don't have a track record of successes recorded. At some point, I believe that leadership experience plays a strong role in leadership because experience is just like a cooking system that brings you into an experiential learning, an experiential
All right, Fred, thank you very
practice.
much. Who else wanted to talk about that particular issue?
All right, thank you. You are good. You like making point that most times it attracts me to and it boosts me to say something more. You said something that was so striking. You said they don't have a job. They believe that going in there is where they will never come out from. They need to remain there and they need to make it from there. All right, what is that thing that really gives them that urge for them to know that if they are there, they need to be there? there should be a way that we eradicate them. It's not just you going there. What qualifies you to be there? We look at, since you don't have a job doing, you know you are broke, and the least that you have is a school set, and you can contest for election. How about that? Let it be that there is a certain certificate that you need to have before you go for election. Let me draw our attention back to what ASU is causing to the student. We as youth, we will suffer ourselves, we will burn our data, and our parents will send us to school to a certain level that we will have a better certificate here in Nigeria that is not even recognized. You might hold it for 5 years without having a good job apart from business. But someone will come out with school set, he wants to be a president. Someone will come out with a school set, he wants to be a governor, because he does not even have a capacity. Did you get that?
Yeah. All right.
So that's just
okay.
That's what should be looking into.
All right, let's take a look at this now. Can it just be possible that we pinpoint these things about governance? Because so many people now, they feel governance is just all about you becoming a public office holder. Now, what do you think can be done to make our public office holders servants? What do you think we can do, or is there any possibility of public office holders becoming servants or public servants delivering jobs or duties or dividends of offices to the people? Because it seems now you just want to be there as an executive that ends the story. You blow the siren, we go everywhere, we are recognized as honorable or His Excellency or honorable this or that or that. Now, are there any other things you feel we can do just to ensure these offices are effective in terms of professional impact?
Yes.
Okay, Odinaka before Faith.
Okay.
I agree that there are things that we need to do as citizens. First of all, who are we voting in there? A preacher said that a poor proud man will still be a rich proud man. This person has over time exhibited these attitudes, and those living around them had seen it. But because of what they would benefit, because of greed, because of selfish interest, they still vote him there. And then the followers too, you know the kind of person you're voting into that place, and you still vote them. When they get in there, they will still display their character. It's not a new character. And also another thing is that we have leaders who just want to bear the fame, who want to have the name. And if, like what I said, people who should be in those offices or in politics, if we keep electing these people, they will continue to do the same thing. We cannot just be doing the same thing over time and expect a different result. We need people who have proven track record of humility. We need people that, okay, I experienced something one day, although I won't mention the name of the person. I went to, okay, Ma, please, I want to invite you. She told me, no, I'm working with my boss. I felt so sad. Within me. It was like, so, is this how these people behave? But you're still working here. Why can't I tell you what I want to do? Then I say that it now depends on the people we elect. Look at their characters. They don't exhibit them just there. Although their power intoxicates people, but still yet, there are people who control it. And also another thing is that you don't elect someone because it is his turn. I don't say that zoning is wrong, but still yet, zoning a kind of produce mediocres. Because you believe it is this person's turn. You don't care what the person will do there. You still elect the person. This thing, it will not stop except we change, except we move from the old normal to a new normal. And then we have a mind shift that we are the ones who would make our government accountable.
All right, thank you very much, Odinaka. Faith, can you just say, put a little light on that? Faith, come on, Faith. I said Faith. Not Faith.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I really love what Odinaka has said. So, first of all, is character. Having a personal character that you display, whether you're in public or in private. And then the second thing that would checkmate the character will be a system that is greater than the individual who is in the office. So that if the individual flaws or goes against the laws, the system can put him in check. If this happens, most politicians will now become conscious of this system and act accordingly. Just like what happens in business. If we are taking, okay, an example is during the coronavirus time, you could walk on the street without a face mask. But as you are entering into the bank, they have a system. No matter who you are, you put on your face mask, and when you come out, you can remove it. So systems will help any individual to go in there, act accordingly. And then the second thing will be, just like what we experienced when I was a senator in the Student Union Senate, the allowances we had were such that it didn't allow our egos to raise so high that we now be oppressing the students. We were able to work with the students, still sit with them on the same classroom block, and still make laws for them, because we had allowances that helped us, that checked us. Not a servant having an allowance that is greater than the people he's saving. He will use the allowance to oppress them. So I feel having these two things and many more things can really help checkmate it.
All right, thank you very much. That's another nice point. Okay, now let's just in the next 10 minutes see how we can wrap this session up. Now let's take a look at this. Can a poor man save Nigeria as a president?
Yes. A poor man?
Poor man.
No.
When we talk about poverty, do we mean financial poverty or mental poverty?
Intellectual poverty.
Same thing. Mental poverty produces financial poverty.
Let me throw a point.
Matthew West, let's stop.
What kind of poverty?
You understand Nigeria? Okay, now when you talk about Nigeria, take a poor man. Poor man in the sense that every disadvantaged Nigerian is for the masses, for the poor. Okay, let me not use the word poor now. Let's use the word a less privileged person. Because now we see Nigeria that you say, that is a less privileged person. Is it that you are disabled or forgetting that financial instability is
Less privileged.
it's no privilege. Let's think about that. Now, even sometimes now, even if you think below average, you are less privileged. So it comes in different ways. Now, can someone just like from nowhere, who has nothing, no mansion, like our brother once who said he had no shoes before he became the president and all those things. We have one of them now said he's been using one wristwatch and a pair of shoes for how many years now? Now, can such person with a wonderful character who is unnoticed all of a sudden come out to run for the office of president in Nigeria and vote?
So I don't think anyone.
No, in fact, calm down.
Calm down first.
Because that's Nigeria for you.
Okay, so when we talk about somebody being less privileged and the person coming out to be a president, we know that apart from financial strength, the person may likely not have that support.
Okay.
But if the person has people that are willing to support him and he has what to offer, I think it boils down to intellectual property, management capability, qualification. Someone can maybe not look good and all that.
Then what happened to PhD holders without job here in Nigeria?
So I'm coming now. Oh, sorry. I'm with you. I'm almost there. Sorry about that. Okay, PhD holders without jobs in Nigeria. Someone with PhD, someone that is sound. I mean, so the person can come out, the masses can support financially, otherwise advise to a certain level. He can be a president. He can still lead us well. He can still come out and manage our resources well. It doesn't necessarily mean that I must appear buoyant.
No, what will make that person?
Sir,
the heart of the electorate.
I think if
it's what you carry. Now I stand, I speak. Maybe I'm barefooted, I don't have what to wear and all that. You know that I have this courage. Sir, people are there to volunteer. I say, I am rooting for this person. Let it become.
I think if people will vote for this person, they will vote based on sympathy. I think
it's not sympathy, it's what I have.
Your ability to manage one shows how much you can manage.
All right, one house. Now, one house. Let's take a look back to what we have due to the last presidential primaries of various political parties. Are you trying to tell us that Professor Yemi Oshibanjo wasn't qualified enough to be nominated as a candidate of All Progressive Congress.
Okay, sir,
Yes,
let me
sir,
answer
he
that.
wasn't.
Let me answer
Why-
that. Let me answer that.
Why-
Hello,
why-
politics
why-
will
why-
always
why-
be.
When you talk about
still have the
somebody
floor.
who has
He was.
Now, when it comes to
Yeah.
Nigerian
In a-
Nigerian system of
Fred,
becoming
still have
of
the floor. Fred, still have the floor.
I want to say something. Let it not go.
Okay.
Let me come to Nigerian system of bringing in people through the primaries.
Okay.
For us as a country, the one we have seen is the highest bidder takes the lead.
Then why
Right?
didn't you mention that
Aside-
point? Why
Let
did you
me
mention
finish. Aside the highest bidder taking the lead,
Okay.
right? When we have a federal system of government called the federalism, both the poor and the rich can rule the country
Yes.
effectively, because when you go outside the policy, accountability takes you to prison irrespective of your money. But we don't have that. So a poor man is almost impossible for his dreams to come to pass because he don't have the resources, even though no matter how intelligent the person
But
appears,
the dreams
no
will
matter
come
how
to pass, he
courageous
has
the person
support.
appears.
Okay, one house down. Let's take a look at this.
Can I say something?
Of course.
No, don't say anything again. Don't say anything again. Let's have one house.
Sir, Bambam has not said it.
Bam Bam is about to talk. That's why I have to Bam Bam. Oluwabishe said something.
Yeah. In the issue of Yemi Osibanjo, is one person that put in there is like a godfather that
Okay.
that put in there. So he has to step down for the man.
But you don't step down.
He has to step down.
It's two. It's just election. It's two nomination.
Is that why
It's
he's
not
not
two
step down.
nomination. He didn't step down.
Is that why
There's
he's not-
something on there's something on that. Can I explain something?
All your mind! All your mind!
Bam your mind. Bam Bam. But you are the same person during the presentation who said that godfatherism should be out.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So now why you
But
bring
it's the godfather that will not allow Yemi Osibanjo to be the president.
So are you saying we should take away Godfather?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
All right, now,
Please, can I say something?
just in one word. In one word.
One word is not enough. Let me just let me say something. It all boils down to the issue of political parties. Yes, the political parties themselves, I will still say strongly that they don't have an ideology, and that's why we still have the likes of APC and PDP still campaigning today because they're fed up for several years. And then why is this necessary? The Yemi Osibanjo couldn't emerge because I will trust my brothers, the highest bidder take the office. Now this is what happens in that place, and this is why it is like that. It is because in the Nigerian system, political parties are not funded by governments. If you go to other states, other countries, they fund political parties, and what will become the responsibility of the political parties now is to decide the best of the candidates to put in that place. And so when you don't come with that kind of an ideology for a party, the party will now look for how to make money to be able to sustain their relevance in the political space. So that is what is necessary now. We should fund political parties so that at least we'll have the best of the candidates coming out.
All right. Finally, before we go, let's take a look at this. Based on politics and governance, are you also in support of individual candidature during elections?
Is it without parties?
Without parties?
It can't work in the
Is there any possibility?
How
will you become a politician who wants to render governance without following due process from your party?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Will the party allow you to flow after elections as a politician?
So you look for another party.
No.
It's not all of them are parties.
I think strongly that maybe some of our perceptions are coming from the fact that we've not done politics or we've not done it. Like you've not gone to a poll. I've gone to a poll several. I know what I'm talking about. Experiences also play key roles in all these things. You can't disappear from no one as an individual and go to the poll and win an election. We need political party, but this political party need to be put in place to do the right right
now,
thing.
how can
Take
political
a case
party
study.
play without playing politics?
All right, sir. Let me
Take
say
a case
something.
study of PDP right
So
now.
we have
right?
99 so many political parties. So if one doesn't work, you go for the other.
No.
However, they should
No.
forever. The only thing is that
Different
you build
generation will
yourself.
be repeating
The
the
only
same
thing
mistake. We can't do
no,
that.
no, no.
This is
The only
this is
thing
what
is
I have
that
to
for me,
say.
you build yourself up to the extent that if you should move, you still have supporters.
This
you
is
like
what I
what
have
we
to
are
say.
saying currently.
All right.
Let me just make
Uh,
this
uh,
point.
uh,
Let me
Jefferson,
let
Jefferson,
me just
come.
make this
The
point.
question
Yes,
is,
moved. You see?
the aspirant, does he have a power over the party when he emerges?
When the party gave you the platform, don't forget you were not just the person who stood nomination, but you were favored as a result of intrigues. That's why they
That's where
produced
my
you.
point comes in.
I would say
But that's
it's
where
going
my
to
point
be
once
hard.
it comes in.
I would say it's going to be hard to walk outside the party because,
Yeah.
like what he said parties don't have ideologies. I think I'm going to differ on that
Yes.
because I believe parties have ideologies, but the ideologies are not for the people. They are for the party.
Yes,
Now, when
I made
they
mention of that.
when they present a candidate, they want the candidate to represent the party.
Now,
And when a candidate is on seats, they want that candidate to rule in such a way that the party takes leadership again and again and again.
And
Okay, now,
benefits.
okay,
It's
now,
hard,
okay,
it's
now.
hard to walk
Sir,
outside
Daniel,
the
and
party.
let me say this.
Direct
Let me say
primaries and
this.
indirect primaries.
That is the point I want to make.
Okay.
Seriously, the direct and the indirect primaries
Continue.
should
Thank
be what we should look at
Okay.
in each and every party. And
We
this
should be able to decide from primaries.
This should not be made. Okay, let me just assume primary should not be made as a decision of a particular party. It should be governed. It should be like part of the constitution. We should not use this particular pattern to choose a candidate in any party, either in any way. It must be direct or indirectly. Of recent, I see what has happened. Because you are in power, you now use your own party structure or party policy. You brought out a one that is called ad hoc delegate. You swallowed your as in, let me just say, you make us know that this is what the party want, not what the people want. Direct election will give the people the right for them to choose
Okay,
who
direct
they want.
nomination.
Direct
From primaries.
Yes.
Direct primary.
From primaries we are ready.
From
Take it
primaries
from
we are
All
ready.
right.
Major election.
Okay, let's take a look at this before we run up because the camera is still rolling. Now, you're aspiring to become president, all of you. Now, you need to produce a successor at the end of your tenure. Won't you do everything possible to bring in a successor?
It's not necessary for you to produce a successor.
If you
It's
think about it,
not really necessary.
That's
For
the
me,
system
it's
I'm
not
talking
like
about.
this. We'll still continue
The
this
system
way.
is rightly in place.
Yeah.
And you complete your task. You do not need a
successor.
successor. Whoever is coming in,
That
you
was
follow where you
competent.
stop.
Competent, greed,
You follow where you stop.
that's
just
content
the
of
fact.
character.
Can I say something there? Let's not forget that there's no continuity when it comes to capital projects.
Yes.
That's not.
What was that?
that's
No,
not-
I'm coming
that's
for
not-
continuity's sake. What are you continuing? An agenda. I am coming with my own agenda. You are expecting me to continue. You are building a hospital. I'm coming to build a school. You are expecting me to continue that. You did not finish the plan.
But should
So
that
it's
be-
all
Hold on,
the-
let me say-
Hold on.
Despite any party that comes in after an administrator has like left, despite any party that a candidate comes from, you can't tell me that where you come and see an abandoned property that you should just abandon.
Yeah,
it.
abandon
Okay, is it working the way you are saying in Nigeria now?
This is
That
why we are here.
is why we are arguing.
That
is it.
All right, in conclusion,
That's where the continuity. That's where the
conclusion
comes
comes
in.
in.
Despite the party the
in a
candidate
political
comes from.
system now, what are you practicing? Is it politics or governance?
Politics.
Politics. They are not giving us the dividends we
It's
need.
more of politics than governance. And
So
it's
what are you promising Nigerians?
Governance.
If you should image the president.
Governance. For them to enjoy.
I want to make something I
Yeah, it's not only governance.
Not
Good governance.
Good governance.
I will promise Nigeria two things.
All right, thank you very
Good
much.
governance.
much. All right, thank you very much. It was nice having the housemates brainstorm on this issue about politics and governance. You've heard from them different points, very, very cardinal ones. They've been able to pinpoint so much issues that we need as a country, not just in Nigeria, but the world at large. These are potential people who have researched enough, who have really come out to tell you that they know what this thing is and they have a way forward. I believe you're watching and you've heard from each of them what it's all about. It's left for you now to go to the website, locate your own favorite candidates, and do the needful when it comes to vote. Thanks for joining us today. It was nice having politics and governance discussed. Let's watch out for the next episode. My name is Aaron Ayara. Bye-bye.